guys, welcome back. Thanks for tuning into our fourth video. So we're gonna tell you the story of our spring break trip to the Virgin Islands. Maddie posted a video a couple months back.
We'll link it down below. It's way better. It's so good.
Oh, shut up! I just heard what you said. I was like, yes.
Okay, shut up. We decided to sit down and tell y'all what really happened in a 3-part video series.
Or 2-part, whatever, or 5-part, however it comes down. So.
I'm gonna stop talking. If you're gonna give me that look.
This is the video.
Dang, that was crazy. What just happened? I've done it millions of times, but nothing millions of times. I guess that's where when we die, but
months later.
Yeah, if you'll notice, there are probably about like 2 to 3 days of footage, and it's only because the trip was so crazy and wild and just scary that I only had footage from like 2 to maybe another 1 good days of footage to film.
Alright, so we brought our friend who went on the trip with us, Abby Kaufman. She also has a YouTube channel, we'll link it down below.
Yes.
To help us tell the story, because I feel like having another person's perspective on what happened.
Yeah, since Abby
she was there a couple times when we weren't there. She'll fill y'all in on that. So let's just hop right into it. But for those of y'all who don't know, we went to the U.S. Virgin Islands. I had been to St. John before, but we were staying on St. Thomas, because there's like 60 different islands. And St. Thomas is more populated. St. John is like 70% national park. It's more like the beautiful island, I guess. Like St. Thomas is more party scene. But we ended up staying in an Airbnb on a resort, and
it was perfectly safe. Like there was nothing that popped out to us. We didn't feel like we were going to be scared for our lives in any way. Basically, the way this trip kind of formed was I had met Abby. So our thought process was like we should, the day that our spring break, we should book a trip, and we found really affordable flights to the Virgin Islands. So Abby and I get together, we booked these flights.
And then so then Maddie had 5 other people. And so we were able to get 8 people together, and we booked an Airbnb that was meant for 4 people. So the entire trip, we just had to act like we were cousins visiting, not staying there.
Like, we actually ended up telling them that we had 5 people, and they made us pay extra for the 5th person.
Yeah, it was like
and
so
we definitely couldn't say, oh, we actually have 8 people.
Yeah, exactly. Hold on, we should talk about the people that we're going with. Like I said, we invited 8 people. But with 5 others besides us, and it's like they're part of my family and friends. So the 5 people we were with were my cousin, who's 22 years old, and her name is Nicole. Her boyfriend of like 5+ years, his name is Jeff. Nicole's sister, who is our age, 19, her name is Gabby. And then Nicole's best friend also came. Her name was Carly. And then Jeff's best friend was the same age as him. His name is John. So these are just the names we're going to be throwing out. So it just probably might be important that you keep these in mind throughout the story.
So we had a really early flight that morning at about 6. So we ended up going to one of the girls' houses that we were going to go on the trip with. And then we went to the airport to get there around an hour and a half early.
We got there at like
it should have been. Okay, so we got there 2 hours early. And we got through like security, and we got to our gate and everything in a pretty timely manner, I guess. Maddie and I decided that we hadn't eaten in like 12 hours. So we really wanted some Wendy's. We stood in this like 10-person line. We're like 4 people away.
Like 10 minutes before
and we get a call, and they're like, hey, they're boarding, like hurry up. But we're like, oh, like boarding takes forever. Like they call like 5 groups, and we were like the 3rd or 4th group. We were like, let's order our food. So we order our food, and then Abby's like, hey, they just called our group, and we're like, okay, well groups are like 30 a person. And so there's still like 4 orders ahead of ours, and then we get a text, and they're like, they said if you don't get on the flight in 5 minutes, they're closing the gate. Like we already paid for our Wendy's.
I was starving. I had spent maybe $10, which is a lot of money for me, on our food. I was like, I'm getting this Wendy's or I'm missing my flight. Like
they're all calling us, and they're like, get on the flight. They're gonna leave y'all. We're trying to keep the gate open. And so we end up getting our food, and we end up making it. And then they close the gates not like 3 minutes after we get on. Like,
it's worth it.
The Wendy's smack. We get on the plane, and we're off.
Okay, so right off we get off the plane, there's a man serving us rum shots. I don't know if any of y'all are aware, but The Virgin Islands is known for making rum. How would you say
Cruisin'. They make Cruisin' and they make Jack Daniels. It's super cheap there because there's like no import duties or anything. Whereas everything else is so expensive.
So right when we get off, we all have like 2 to 3 shots each. We're enjoying our time.
Captain Morgan.
Yeah, and so we're feeling good. Everything's going great. We like our group so far. We meet my aunt. She helps us with our luggage, and we all get on a cab.
And we had to take 2 separate cars. We could only have 4 people at this Airbnb. And so to drop the luggage off, we couldn't all be like rushing in to get the keys and stuff because they would obviously know like who are all these people, you know? So it was me, Blake, and this girl, we'll call her Carly. We went to the beach. Like, we had like our luggage like with us, and we're like dragging it in the sand. And we're going to the beach bar. It's 18 and older to drink in the Virgin Islands, so we definitely took advantage of that. Like right when we got there, and they came and met us later. So 5 other people came and got us, and that's when we were able to go to the Airbnb and drop off our luggage.
And so right after that, we decide that we're hungry and that we should probably go find some place to eat. And this is where, during the trip, that things started to get a little uncomfortable. I started to realize that there was some tension in the group. I thought we were going to be a really cohesive group, and then this night is where it kind of just took a turn.
And so we decided that we were going to go get some food. And we're near the equator and it gets dark around 6 or 7. By then like our day has passed and it's dark. And we're trying to find a place near because we didn't rent a car. It was kind of like split half and half. Some people wanted to go to Red Hook, which is like half a mile to 3/4 mile walk. But it's like on really treacherous roads. It's like hilly, cars just coming over.
Yeah, and they like fly on the road too. And there's
no sidewalk or anything. There's just tree lines that you can't walk in, so you have to walk on the road. And so half of us just wanted to stay on the resort and like go eat at a pizza place, whereas the other half wanted to walk to Red Hook, and that's where it started going south because there were just fights within the group.
For me, it was like, this is such like a minuscule problem to have. That why is there so much like arguing between these 2 people like over something so small? And I mean, we were all kind of like sketched out the road. I'm not kidding. With these cars, like they'd zoom past you. I was a little bit worried. I was like, why is this such a big deal? Like over just getting food. So we ended up going to the local pizza place. We were all just like, you know what, whatever, we'll just do that first.
We were totally we were fine with whatever. It was just really the people that we were with that were like really argumentative over where we were gonna eat.
So we ended up getting pizza. We compromised, and this isn't like a Twitter thing where we like compromise and do one thing. We did both.
The girl that was worried asked the waiter like, hey, how do you get to Red Hook without a cab? Like, is there any like back ways or anything that are safe? And he was like, no, you just walk up the road. So. And
the guy who wanted to go to Red Hook was like, see? Alright, so we're walking to Red Hook. We get there. On the way to Red Hook, though, I mean, the fighting just continued. Like, it was over which side of the road to stand on. And everyone knows that you walk against traffic. Or I thought everyone knew.
So our group was divided. We had Jeff and his friend John.
Jeff and Co on one side, and then we had Nicole and Co on the other side. I was on Nicole's side because like you walk against traffic, so we were walking against the traffic. But they were just yelling back and forth. He was like, get that over here. And she was like, no! But we ended up getting there.
So we found a beach bar. We had fun that night. There's really not much to say. We just had a few drinks, then we walked back home.
Okay, so and then whenever we were leaving, the bartenders were like, make sure you guys come back on Wednesday because it's ladies' night. So ladies drink free, like completely.
Keep this in mind because we returned the following day. So.
In the morning, we were all super excited because it's the first full day. We decided to go to this breakfast bar. What worried me, like, I mean, I wasn't like worried, and I promise I'm not a buzzkill, but we literally woke up at like 8 a.m., got ready, and started drinking at like 9 a.m. So,
that's your job.
So like we were all like, it's kind of like an L, like part we're on like this side of the bar, part we're on like that side, if that makes sense. And I was sitting next to Gabby. This girl was just like downing these mimosas and these Bloody Marys. And it's like literally 9:30 and she's drunk off her ass.
After we ate breakfast, we hopped on a taxi and we rode into town. We went to like some jewelry stores and like every single shop just had like drinks just handed out. So we were just drinking and we ended up going grocery shopping. We were all just down to go in with everyone and split it down the middle. They didn't want to. 2 of the people were like, every time we go to Port A, we end up footing like a $250 bill and everyone else pays like $100. So we're like, fair enough. We'll buy our own stuff.
So we're under the impression that our food that we bought is going to be our food only. However, that did not turn out the way we intended.
And so after we got our food, we headed back to the beach and started getting ready for that night because we were going to go back to the beach bar that we went to the night before.
This is the part where everything legit just goes as downhill as you possibly can have something go.
First whole day on this trip is just like everything gets so fucked up. Yeah.
And the thing is that in the morning, I know that I was a little bit worried about them, but like I was down to go out tonight. I was down to have a good time. Like it's vacation.
We're ready.
And it started out so good. Like we walked into Red Hook. And we start just like downing, you know, some drinks because they're free. And we, you know, tip $1, take a drink, tip $1.
Now, keep in mind, like, because Blake can't drink per se, I was getting 2 drinks at once. Or I was like saying, I want 2 drinks. And
because
then
I would have to pay for them if I went up to the bar, but if she got me the drink, then it was free.
Exactly. So I was taking a drink and then giving the other drink to Blake. So that's important for the rest of the story.
Yeah. Then after this, like we kind of separated.
We're like kind of like away from the whole like the bar, the dancing area, and we're just talking to some girls, some local girls. We're meeting other people who are on vacation. We met some people from UT. Like we're just talking, having a good time.
We also met some cool, like really cool islanders.
It was just like naturally we kind of went off on did our thing with the islanders and with other like vacationers.
Yeah.
And the other people were kind of also doing the same thing, but they were more like dancing and doing stuff in the bar.
Oh, you gotta get me and you though.
The next thing I know, as we're just hanging out, talking behind the bar, Nicole runs frantically. She's like crying. You can tell she's really shaken up. She can barely make any words, and she says,
Carly's getting arrested.
and like saying like that they basically got robbed and jumped and everything, and we're like, we had no idea this was going on. We didn't hear anything. We didn't see anything.
It was so much more intense than we're making it sound. She was literally like bawling compared to us. Like
I've
like,
never seen
Carly's
her like this.
like she was attacking me like
Yeah.
She was like bleeding and stuff.
Jeff comes over at one point and he's like, I have no idea what's going on. He has bruises all over, bloody knuckles. Like he thinks his hand's broken. He's like holding it, and he's like, we don't know what to do. Like we need we're like genuinely all terrified. And apparently the bartender even told us that we were not allowed back.
Yes.
So all of us are just so confused. And
like looking back on it,
to
like kind of wrap up what happened.
right off the bat, I remember Carla was just downing drinks, and she was like in the middle of the dance floor, like dancing on people. Like you can tell she got drunk really quickly.
So we later figured out that like the fight might have ensued because Carly might have been dancing on a different islander's like man, and they got mad and they got in a fight, and then it just like a bunch of islanders ganged up on Carly. And then Nicole swoops in, tries to like help Carly out, I guess, and then Carly just does a 180 and turns on Nicole.
Yeah.
And then it's just 5 islanders and Carly beating up Nicole.
Yeah, she's like, and Nicole's trying to say like, Carly, it's me, and Carly's saying like, F you, Nicole, like I hate you.
I see that they're hurrying Carly into a taxi, and so we hop in the taxi, and so all 8 of us somehow get into this taxi.
Everyone's yelling at each other though.
The taxi ride home was the most unpleasant experience. Everyone just yelling at Carly. She basically caused 4 people to get mugged and robbed. So
and
on the way back.
One more thing though. What if the islanders like targeted us? Like what if they like saw us as clearly tourists? They were like, oh, they probably have money. So part of me thinks that it was like kind of like an organized crime kind of thing. So they took advantage of that and started a fight. Jeff lost so much money, and then that's when you checked your backpack.
Yeah, on the way back, I checked my wallet, and I brought $150 with me that day. I looked in my wallet, and $150 was gone. And I don't know how, because I only had 2 drinks that night.
Yeah, like when I say that we were like downing drinks, I mean like these are like mixed drinks. It's not like we're downing shots. We're so pretty aware of like everything that's going on. Like we're above tipsy, but like we're not like drunk like Carly was, where she legit doesn't know what's going on type of thing.
Acting like a completely different person.
So like on the way back to our condo, I start feeling a little bad. I don't know why, because like I've only had 2 drinks that night. Neither of these 2 are feeling bad. And then we ended up getting back to the condo.
And right before we pull up to the gate that separates our condo from the road, Nicole and Carly get out, and immediately Carly attacks Nicole. She's just slamming and hitting her, and Nicole's like yelling for someone to stop. And so finally, like Jeff and John both realize that this is a situation that we're gonna basically need to take Carly away from the Airbnb, away from Nicole.
She had already attacked her twice, and it didn't look like she was gonna stop anytime soon. So that night, Jeff and John decided to sleep down on the beach with her, and they all slept on the beach. And this is when...
This one's lovely. Oh, baby. So we get back to the condo, and Blake and I realized that we needed to take like a walk on the beach. There's still a lot of arguing and fighting going on in the condo. At that point, I started to realize something was really off with Blake. Like, Blake started talking about how he was held at gunpoint, how, like, they had taken his money from him then, and, like, all of these things was getting, like the chronological events, like, out of order. I was like, whoa, whoa, whoa. First of all, there's no way he could have been held at gunpoint because I was by his side the entire time, and never once were we held at gunpoint. And so I sit him down, like, hey, Blake, I need you to tell me, like, all the events that happened, because, like, what you're saying is not adding up. And immediately he goes, I need to sit down, like I feel really dizzy, and just like he immediately from that moment just is like not really there, like really confused. So we realized that night that Blake might have been slipped or roofied. And that night I'm like staying up with Blake, his heart rate's super duper fast, he's like not responding, like sweating like all over. Something was definitely wrong with him. I'm like up with him till like 5, 6 in the morning just to make sure he's okay. And my aunt basically confirmed the fact that Blake was definitely roofied.
Later we came to the conclusion that Carly might have also been roofied because she was so pleasant until like she started drinking.
Yeah, and well the next morning, it kind of also plays off of it. She came barging into the condo and started punching Nicole. Like, why would you hit me? Why would you hit me? When Carly was the one that started the fight. Yeah. So we think that she was for sure.
She had no recollection of her even like hitting.
Of her fighting.
And she has the darkest bruises all over her body. She was just so convinced that Nicole had started it.
Her freaking arms, like I wish we had pictures of her, like after the fight. Like she had not scabs yet, but like going to be scabs like all over her body. Her actually like the blackest eye I've ever seen.
Yeah, absolutely.
All of that was so crazy.
We're at that point, we're pretty convinced that like, there is no way Carly can stay with us for the entire trip. And so we kick Carly out. We make her like pack her bags. Like you just can't stay with us if you're gonna beat Nicole.
And let me backtrack real quick because earlier that day we had gone to the beach, right? And this is important for later with Carly's situation. This was before that evening. Keep in mind. So we were all still great friends at this point in time. All of them are kind of up ahead, and I had my camera. I was making sure to get a lot of videos and pictures. And this guy who was in a condo like directly behind me, he's like an old, like high 60s, low 70s-year-old man. And he like comes up to me. He was being like really weird. It was making me really uncomfortable. He was asking all these questions. He started asking like, oh, like what's your name? Like how old are you? Oh, like where are y'all staying? And I was like, oh, just down that way to resort. And he was like, oh, which one is it? And I was just like, super alarmed. I was just like, oh, I gotta catch up to my friends, right? Well, they start coming back to me. And that's when Carly met him as well, and they started talking. I don't want any part with this guy. He's being creepy to me. But him and Carly were like hitting it off.
I remember the first thing that I saw when I walked over to them is just Carly all wet from swimming, just rubbing her boobs like all over his chest.
It was literally the weirdest thing I've ever experienced.
So that morning, when they kicked Carly out, I was like, where is she gonna stay?
Little did we know Carly ends up staying with Arthur throughout the whole trip.
So she like leaves, and I'm honestly worried. Like I'm someone that I don't care if we have like arguments on a trip. If we're in a foreign place, I'm not gonna kick you out or send you off on your own. Like that's super dangerous. We were really worried, and we like checked up on her, and I remember her texting back like, it's okay, like I'm staying with Arthur. Yeah. And that's when I was just like,
it's a little weird. Blake is dead asleep to me the entire time.
Later that day, we were supposed to go on a snorkeling tour, and he really wanted to go, and Maddie kept trying to wake him up, and he like would not, like he could not form sentences, he could not fully like communicate, he'd like, he'd be in and out, and we were like, are you sure you don't want to go? And he'd just be like, oh, like I need to sleep, I need to sleep. Yeah. And we were like so freaking worried.
I was so worried. Yeah.
But that didn't stop them from going on the snorkeling tour. So I slept that entire day until 6 p.m. when they got back. That's how the day basically ended. That's how our second full day, our third day on the island basically ended was they got back from their snorkeling tour. I woke up
sleeping maybe like 16 hours.
Okay, and so that night after I started feeling better, like we just kind of hung out at the condo and stuff. Maybe I went outside for like 4 seconds. Then I tried to make bacon that night, and that didn't turn out very well.
Why is it not recording? We love a man that can cook. Hence the bacon that has burnt its way through. This is bacon, by the way. Yes. There's no way and chance we're not getting kicked out.
But overall, everything was well. We were ready to start having fun on our trip.
You know, we have like 6 days ahead of us.
Yeah.
It's gonna be a good time. You know,
Yeah, we'll have
go
a
to
good
the
time.
beach.
Yeah.
That did not happen.
Well, if y'all like this video, come back next week and we'll tell y'all what happened on the rest of our trip. But we hope you enjoyed part 1.
Yep, thanks. Bye.